All right. My name's Todd Malone, KE4CCB. Now, first of all, I'd like to say to the young lady, don't ever worry about praying to the Father. Ever. Don't ever worry about that. Stand and do it and be proud of it. So, but anyway, just a quick little presentation on me and where I started at as in communications. Years and years ago, when I was young, at about age 15, I got into CB radio. So a cousin had given me an old Royce 23 channel CB radio. And I went and bought an antenna and put it on the trunk of the car and run Mom's battery down every night. And so finally I twisted the wires up and put the black one on the red one and the red one where the black one's supposed to go, and out come the magic smoke. So off down to electronic systems service where Gary Davis was at, and started let him fix it, and went back. And at that time I'd had several years of electronics in high school. Had a really good teacher for the first 2 years, and he got killed in a truck wreck. And so the next guy was more electrical and not so much electronics. So anyway, I talked to Gary, and Gary was good enough to let me come and help him. And he was a great help to me over the years and taught me a lot of basic electronics. And he was also the electronics teacher at Science Hill at one time. And Gary, if he hasn't passed away, he's in a nursing home here in Kingsport locally somewhere. And I talked to his son over the summer. So that's where I started in electronics, is there, and then I moved after I graduated to Knoxville and went to school down there to ITT. Went through 2 years of electronics there. And I went back to Gary's after I left there and worked on CBs for a short period of time. And then I started working for Race Scan Communications over in Johnson City. Bill Garrett, worked for him for several years, and then when he got out of the business, I bought his business. And eventually the '08 economy got it. I went to work for Bell Helicopter for a short period of time, 6 months, as instrument tech. And then I sold radios to the company I work for now, BAE Systems, just down the road here. Sold radios to them when I had the business for many years. So they called me and said, hey, we need you to come over here and work. So now I work for BAE Systems down at HAP, and been there. I basically do control systems technician, work on PLC controllers and things of that nature. And started out, I went to Eastman and applied and never heard. I went back and applied, never heard, never went back, never heard anything. And that was one of those times they had that hiring freeze. I was a young man then. And of course they had a lot of internal people working there that moving up and moving around. So, but anyway, it's been a great career. Basically all I've ever done is worked on electronics. And I can tell you now, you learn daily. And things are different, things are changing. If you work on components, you got better eyesight than I've got now. So things have changed. So I wanted to come over, I was asked, and there seemed to be some interest, and I wanted to come and do this short presentation. And matter of fact, I've actually done more here than I did in Bristol. And I have a tendency to talk a lot. So I'm gonna try to hold this as short as I can, and I'm definitely not an expert. I can tell you that for sure. There's so much in Wires X. It's amazing how it functions. One radio to the other, the function keys are completely different to get in and out. Some of them are the same, but most of them are different. So I'm not going to cover every single radio because there's no way, because I've only owned a couple of different models. So, but one of the things, hey, it worked. I was at Tybee Island a couple of weeks ago, and I guess I talked to being probably more when I was at Tybee Island on the radio. As a matter of fact, it's right here, exactly everything I had in Tybee Island. So I was sitting down there, and I've actually made a few of these slides, and I've actually grabbed a lot of this off of the internet, a lot of this verbiage and things that's come off of the internet. So basically, the WIRES X is a wide coverage internet repeater enhancement system. Big acronym, but it works. It basically takes the repeater system, a fusion system or an analog system, through a HRI 200 or a portable digital network like I'm running here tonight, and it takes that and allows it to go into a room or a different node, and in that you're able to connect to different nodes across the country, across the world, tie repeaters together in the same area. Some people use an HRI 200 at the repeater site, but you've got to really have a robust internet connection to run an HRI 200. So I don't have anything at any of my sites that I run any of this stuff with. All of mine's run out of my house. My HRI 200's at my house. I use a FTM 300 to communicate to the mountain and back. So just a real quick overview. In WIRES X, the digital user station can be a car, portable, mobile, set it at the house. The node station is typically, if it's portable, you can have it just about anywhere like we do here. You can have the HRI 200 and whatnot in the house, running it, many people do. And then you have this internet connection, and then you have the same thing on the other side, different users, different stations. I use an FT5 typically when I'm gone. I've had this computer in my truck and this radio in my truck and travel, and I talked to him probably, 4 hours or so in traveling. So the internet connection doesn't really have to be robust, but it needs to be good enough that it doesn't lose connection much. So who can use it? Any of the Yaesu radios that's fusion capable. Now, you don't necessarily have to take a radio and connect it to WIRES X. When you connect to a node, you can control the node from your radio, but you don't have to. George, I think, I've talked to him several times on the 443-800 repeater, which I own. It's on top of Holston Mountain. Now we're sitting there talking, and the whole time I have that radio at my house connected to Holston Mountain repeater. All right, RF-wise, just a link. When we talk, I mean, he and I was just talking on the 443-800 repeater. We're just talking right there. So anybody that just drove by and tuned in to 443-800, sitting there listening to us talking on digital, may or may not realize they're going through the internet as well. Because in the midst of all of that, we have the 145-290, which sits in the same rack. So it's a VHF. The 147-000, Ben has a link to it. And there's one in Virginia, Gate City. So those four are not always in that room, but they sit there. All right, so any of those repeaters that you get on, you may not realize it, but in the fusion mode, they may be connected to a room somewhere across the internet, and you may not know it. So any of these portables, mobiles, some of these are WIRES X and PDN capable, so you can do WIRES X and PDN, which is basically what I'm doing here. Some don't have the feature. The FT70 doesn't have the option to plug it in that I found. Like I said, I ain't an expert on it. But both of these radios that are pictured here, I run. The one on the right, I use it, I believe it may not be the 510, but I have the 510, it's similar to that. And then, of course, the FD5 I have here tonight. So, WiresX rooms. According to their website, it is a virtual community space in amateur radio that allows multiple nodes and repeaters to link together over the internet. Created by Yaesu for their C4 FM digital radio systems. It acts like a digital party line where users worldwide can talk to each other simultaneously. So you have the WiresX nodes and rooms. So the node, this is their definition of it, and I've added some to it, but local nodes are Yaesu WiresX capable radios or Yaesu repeaters connected to the internet via the WiresX software. So that becomes a node. The software allows two nodes to connect and use the internet for long distance communications. The radios or repeaters are the access point to the internet. Nodes are typically connected to HRI 200 devices. Do not confuse with the portable digital node, which is this. So rooms are hosted by the HRI 200, and they require a very good, reliable, and specific internet condition. The gist of the room is to allow more than two nodes to connect. When the room is registered and activated, you set up the characteristics of how the room can be operated. So these have different capabilities. The HRI 200, when you go in to set them up. But first of all, you have to go in here. And you got to create a login and a password, register your node, whether it be the HRI 200 or whether it be this radio. So this radio has its own room number and node number. However, you use the node number of it and not the room number. Go here first. They'll send you all of the little pop-up. They'll send you all of the information back when they approve your equipment. So here is a lot of equipment, and every piece on this I have sitting somewhere. Most of y'all are familiar with this repeater since you have several of them. The repeaters, this is a DR1, DR2, DR3. The new DR3s are out now. You've probably seen them at the convention, I guess. Did you see them, the DR3s?
If I did, I didn't know what it was.
Well, it basically is this device right here. And this is the HRI 200. So that one has to have a real robust non-natted network to run. There is some porting that has to be configured. The radios, those are capable for WiresX. Some of them have the WiresX button, some don't. The FD70 doesn't have the WiresX button. And of course, the requirements for the PC, I pulled this off the internet straight out of their book. Not very robust, doesn't need to be. All of mine that I have are single. I'm running two different portable nodes like this. I'm running one FTM300 and one 510. And I sent Ben a link. These are basically the little micro Dell. I mean, they're
this little square.
half pound, right? So that's what I run on mine. So the portable nodes. Using the WiresX portable node function, you can operate a WiresX digital node station by directly connecting a portable digital node capable C4 FM digital transmitter with the PC. The HRI 200 Internet Interface Kit is not needed, and no fixed or dynamic global IP address is required. So the WiresX portable digital node function, there's basically two different modes to run the Wires X portable digital node in. So you can run it in the digital node mode, which is capable of internet communications only with C4 FM nodes, digital nodes and rooms. You can run it in a portable HRI mode, which this is all in the radio, right? It's not software driven, it's in the radio. Capable of internet communications with both C4 FM digital and analog node and rooms. Now that has to be configured with an HRI 200. So whoever has their HRI 200 sitting out there, if it's analog capable, if the node, the HRI 200 is set up for mixed mode operation, which it will do either one of these, digital or analog, this will not connect to it. I know it's complicated, and it's took years, or at least 2 years for me to figure this out. So the digital node, portable digital nodes, supports the internet communication only in digital mode. Requires a Yaesu C4 FM portable digital node capable transceiver. I've listed several of them here, portables and mobiles. Firmware update, this was a note that I found, the FTM 400 requires firmware update. Now, once you're in this node, in the radio, you have 2 separate ways you can operate it. Ben has his set up right now for direct operation. And that basically is taking the handheld radio, which transmits no RF. Okay? You have it connected just like I do, plugged in the side. He's running his in direct. The microphone and the speaker goes into the audio card, and it sends all that data out across the internet. Okay? All of it comes back same way it comes out the speaker. No RF involved. Access point. The access point is basically all RF. Okay? So this little radio is setting up here on UHF 446 000 in digital mode. Okay? I'm in access mode, access point mode. So I take another radio, such as this, and I can talk to that radio back and forth, and it all goes across the internet to whatever room I have selected on this radio. Okay? That's access point. The direct operation down here, the portable node station transceiver is used only for Wires X internet communications without transmitting or receiving local on-air radio signals. Surely I'm getting close to the end of this thing. How a portable digital node works, continued. In this access point operation, in this mode, the Wires X C4 FM communications are made either directly using the USB connected portable digital node, transceiver push to talk, microphone and speaker, or via other local C4 FM transceiver communicating on a frequency with the USB connected portable digital node station. So this access point, and this again straight out of the Wires X book, this is a portable digital node station. So here we can press the speaker, press the PTT, and it goes across the radio, through the computer, internet, and out to other stations. Okay? If you put it, communication by RF to access the portable digital node station from either C4 FM digital or from other C4 FM digital transmitters. So you can see this radio and this radio, that radio is set up to transmit from another portable into that. On the other side, the Wires X digital node station. So you have the digital room sitting over here, which is an HRI 200 controlling it. and I'll get to that in a minute. That's another big question. But all of those stations are talking to that room. So that's the hub of where they're controlled by. So this is still continued. This is a direct operation. There is no RF here. No RF. Any of these radios can be connected to that computer, and the speaker and mic go straight to the computer through the internet. Okay? I'm getting to the end of this thing. Portable HRI mode. So it will support both analog and digital. Okay? Requires the C4FM portable digital node capable transceiver, a USB cable, audio cable, and a PC with WiresX software and internet connection. Doesn't have to be all that robust, but in this configuration, you can run it in access point or direct. Either way. I'm trying to get through this so I can get to the nuts of this thing. Portable HRI node operation continued. So in the HRI mode, which is when you set this thing up, this is all done from the radio. It's either running in a portable HRI mode or a PDN mode. Same thing here. This is RF controlled here. And that's the WiresX room that everything's connected to over there. The direct, as you can see, the RF link's gone down here on the corner. So, although the Yaesu DR2 repeater can connect to an HR200 directly, I don't recommend it myself. This configuration, when the repeater is located remotely at a site. And the reasons that I've come up with that I've listed is time to travel to the site for repairs, reset or restart the computer, internet limitations, or reviewing logs in the software. I'll show you something in the software in just a few minutes. So what I do on mine is I configure these things as a portable digital node and use these things at my house, and I send all of that information to the mountain using a link. Okay. All of this equipment is expensive and takes time to set up and configure. I have multiple computers, radios, and the HRI200 running the WiresX network. The KE4CCB room is being used by others on different repeaters and nodes, and it's got my room number at the bottom as 08311. Hopefully that's the last one. Woo! All right. All right. Let me close that. We're going to get into the real part of this if it'll let me. All right. So this is the WiresX software. Does anybody use this? Anybody familiar with it? A few of you?
I've seen it.
All right. How many new hams? Less than a year. Oh, great. Got one back here. All right, good deal. This is amazing stuff. The C4FM platform. I love the platform. Of course, Alan can tell you the P25 is really good. It's C4FM too. Just different codecs and things to decode and transmit the audio. This WiresX software is the hub of the PDN. Okay? Ever how you've got it configured, there's multiple ways. I rushed through that pretty quick because I wanted to get to this so I could really show you how it functions, hopefully, if everything works. So in this, I had a slide in there to do the configuration, right? So you had to submit the information to Yaesu, get it recorded. They would send you back all of the data that you need to put in, right? So the serial number of my radio is embedded here. The That's my DTMF ID, my call sign, the user, so that's node 2. All this information you put in. So that's the Wires X information that goes with that radio. Now, my FTM 300 has a different ID. Let me go down. So you can set this up in the GPS, and it will read the GPS data from a radio if it has it on it, and it will put it out if you want it to onto these screens, and I'll show you here in just a few minutes. So you can set up different rooms, not on this, but this is what I wanted to show you on this slide right here. So if you're running a radio in a PDN mode like this, and you have RF access to it, what I can do is I can take this radio and control that radio and move it to a different room. And I'm going to do that in a few minutes, I hope, or maybe Ben will help me. So when I do that, I want mine to return back to my home room, right? So what I do in the computers I'm running at home is I check this box and I put my room number here. So what happens is when somebody else redirects my repeater system from my room, it will transfer to that other room. So I'm going to use Kansas City wide for a second. They transfer it to Kansas City wide. It does its thing. There's a timer. 30 minutes later, it returns to my room. Okay? So it sits there, and then everything's tied together again. All that's automated from the software. So you have the general settings. That one has unlimited timeout timer. And the reason why I've done that on this particular computer is I had it sitting down there and I didn't want it to move. I just had it sitting on mine and I didn't want it to move when I was down in Tybee Island. Also, when I was traveling up the interstate, of course, it wouldn't have moved anyway, but I didn't want it to. So let me get out of here for just a second. So going back, maybe. Computer hates me. I want to show you the transceiver settings. So one of the biggest things here, this transceiver right here where it says receives digital and transmits digital, there is an option to go in there and make that analog or digital, right? Or you can do a straight analog. When you do that, you have to have additional audio cables that comes off the radio into the microphone and speaker ports of the computer. I have found that the audio is horrible on analog. So I don't even use it. My room, however, is set up to do both. But I don't use any analog on my stuff. So in this, it shows you what the transceiver is, shows you the firmware version in it, the destination, the modulation, the frequency. So all of that is driven from this software. So when you put this radio in this Wires X HRI mode, which I'm in now, you have to type in the frequency here. You don't enter it here. You enter it in the software. It will tune the radio to that. Now, I'm not going to say much about this DGID. It's somewhat complicated, but the DGID 00 is pretty much anything goes. So if you start changing this DGID, the other radio using the system that you're on has to be on the exact same DGID that you are, or you're not going to talk. Okay? A lot of people use that for having, like say, Bristol, Kingsport, Johnson City repeaters tied together, but they want to separate them and run your own net over here, their own net over there, and when you're done, it ties them all back together. You can do that and select different repeaters to come up by using this DGID. The squelch, if you're running analog, it gives you an option to put the squelch in. The DCS, the power is set here. If you're running it to a repeater, which I am at home, you set this offset in here for whatever the offset is for UHF or VHF. And then you have an option down at the bottom to check to hide the frequency settings. Some people do, some don't care. Some don't want them to know what the frequency is. All right, so getting out to the actual room. I'm not connected right now to anything, right? You can see over here where I've went through some stuff in this section over on the other side. That was earlier beforehand. You can see the this user up here on the top. It shows you who connected to the node, right? And it shows you what kind of radio they were on. Now that can be changed. Some people set them up differently, but anyway, what I want to do, I'm going to connect to this room. I drug this room up here. It's mine. I'm going to connect to it, at least attempt to. All right, so it brings up this screen. So this information that's over here on this screen is basically stuff that I have tied into it. I've just basically put it in there. There's a selection. You can go grab that data and pull it out and request it from down here in this bottom section of the software. But at the top, it shows 6 nodes connected to that room. Okay? So KT40, which is here, the repeater, W4UD, and then my node with a KE4CCB ND, that's the HRI 200 sitting at my house. Then I have node 2, I have node 4, and then of course the N4AZO node. Now, these up here in the top of this screen up here are your nodes. These down here are rooms, okay? So, this is extremely important. This node, this portable node, will only connect to one node, okay? So if I go up here and I click on any of these and try to connect to them, if they're tied to another node, it won't work. That's why the rooms are there, okay? But 2 nodes can. So I'm going to use him for just a second, if he'll let me. He's sitting here and he's got his little node sitting here, and say his son or daughter or friend, Alabama. As long as he don't have anybody connected to his node, and the other end don't either, they can connect together in this section and talk. Okay? But only 2 can be done that way. So this room that I have connected up here at the top, all of these nodes are able to connect to the room. And I'm going to show you another one. Ben, connect to this radio, 446 000.
All right.
See if it'll connect.
Good wires.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
All right. Can you route that to Kansas City? Yeah. So what I'm going to have him do, I'm in this room and I'm connected right now. That's mine. So he is going to take his radio, he's connected to my radio already, and route it to a different room. Now, all of that was done remotely, right? So he's now listening to my radio. You can see it transmitting. See the little light transmitting? So it's transmitting right now, the audio, I better keep this thing alive. It likes to go to sleep. So now I want you to look at all these nodes. All of these nodes are sitting there. Now, here's what's interesting about this. He's connected to my radio, right? He's sitting there listening. I'm going to power this radio on. So at the top of this software, up here, when somebody keys up and talks, it'll show the two users or two nodes that's up here, okay? So this is where I was getting at earlier. You may not know that you're on Wires X when you connect to a repeater or when you're on a repeater talking on it, right? So this little radio over here is sitting and listening across the internet to all of these. Any of these that becomes active, it will come out here, come out and talk, okay? That is RF. That's access point, okay? So these rooms down here become available, or they go away when they go offline. Don't know how fast the server updates that. I've heard conflicting stories on this room configuration, so I want to try to, if you can, roll that back over to my room right quick. So what I want to do is I want to explain what I've heard about these rooms. The HRI 200 is required to control one, okay? When I talked to Yaesu early on when I wanted to set this thing up, they told me you have to have this internet, you got to have that, and the reason why is our server routes the audio to your little HRI 200 device sitting in your house. Okay. Then I hear, no, it's sitting on a cloud out in cyber world, and your HRI 200 directs the audio to it. So everything gets connected in the cloud. I don't know. I guess Yaesu could tell you that, but I can't because I don't know. I wish I did. I've heard multiple stories on it, conflicting stories, and from my understanding was when I got into this, the robust internet connection for the HRI 200 was because everybody talked to your HRI 200, which I'm assuming they do if you're directing it to them. So in the direct, well, I'm going to go skip off of that for a minute and go to the direct mode. Right now, I'm connected to my room. Ben has moved me back remotely from Kansas City wide to my room, okay? So I'm going to change modes on my radio. Now, I'm going to have him key his radio. I went to direct mode, so I'm going to have him key his radio up. Okay? So he is coming. So he just went through the internet through his computer to the internet, came out on the computer and internet on my side through the radio. No RF on my end. Are you direct?
I'm correct.
He's direct as well. So this is what I was talking about, where you could have two nodes connected together. We're not connected to two nodes. Both of us is connected to a room. So what I'm going to do, KE4CCB testing. In the upper left corner, you can see the two nodes that are lit up. Now the ones that's below it, every single one of those nodes are hearing where I just keyed up right here. Okay? I didn't transmit any RF. As a matter of fact, you still on Simplex?
Yeah.
Key it up.
All right.
So he's keying up now.
D4 and testing.
And the only radio that's here, and it's my simplex radio over here, that's not connected to anything. It's not coming across the radio. It didn't change anything here because it didn't transmit any RF. Well, he did, but the radio's not set up to do it. It's talking directly into it. Now, I'm going to change mine to the repeater on the mountain. So Holston Mountain, our repeater on the mountain. Maybe. Guess I need to put it in the right mode. Don't laugh, Ben, I'm old. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. All right. I'm going through this node right here. KE4CCB testing. Now all of that went all the way to Holston Mountain and come back out these two computers sitting here in the room. It'll either come out RF here, or it'll come out across the speaker, and you can use a microphone to transmit back out. Both of these are both functions. When I was at Tybee, I had the computer setting there, had the radio connected, and you wouldn't believe how much RF I transmitted while I was down there in that little room on 1/2 watt or whatever low power is on this thing. But I'd go to the balcony, and when I go to the balcony, I'd take this little radio, and his little battery would last about an hour, and I'd have to go back in and put that in direct mode so I could talk directly without having the RF. So, in the truck, coming home, I run it in direct mode, didn't have any RF, wasn't transmitting any RF at all. So when I was coming back up the road, my battery lasted the whole trip, right? So I wasn't transmitting any RF on my little HT. And here I was driving up, I was talking to Ben like this all the way home. And of course, all those signs that says not to have any portable devices while you're driving.
You're insane.
So, but anyway, that's kind of the gist. I do want to show you a couple more things in these rooms down here. There is, didn't want to do that. Down here in the rooms, these headers across here, you can select them to go up or down either direction. But one of the things that I wanted to show you is this, see if I can make that wider. I'm computer illiterate. So basically that is 0 nodes connected to that room, okay? And it goes all the way down. But you click it again, and it will give you the ones that are mainly has the most connected to it. That's, come on, man. Ben, what'd you do?
I don't know what it is.
So, crap.
Oh, the room went in and out.
Yeah, I'm sure it probably is. So the 142 is the one that has the most nodes connected to it. The 089 is America's KC wide. That is a very popular station. It's a very popular room. It also has DMR, Echo Link maybe, a couple of different modes connected into it. So it has quite a bit. That's the least I've seen on that one in a long time, because you're usually about 130, 131, 132 stations connected to it. So you can go down here in any mode that we're in the radio, HRI, or portable node. I'll get it out here in a minute. Either mode that you're in, you can go down and select one of these rooms. However, going back to the PDN, if the room, and these symbols over here mean something, okay? So each of these symbols, there's a, I don't know if I've got it up somewhere. It tells you what each one of these things mean. And you can see mine is different. So You can do the digital only. You can do a digital closed room, which nobody can access, but whoever you allow. Analog or a mixed mode. And these symbols down here come up and tell you what they are. If you're in the PDN mode, you can only connect to a digital mode. Okay, it's only digital. Okay, so if there's a room down here that does mixed mode like mine, you have to have HRI mode for it to work. You cannot connect to it unless it is set up as a digital room only. You can connect to them, which I have done, you've seen here, in the HRI mode. So, any questions? I know I ain't even touched the tip of this thing. Any questions that you are curious about? And again, each thing that happens is in this log right here. Okay? So it shows where Ben started that room number right there. Shows it connected. Shows how many nodes was in that room. Right? So this is, when I go to the house and I say, well, who done that? This is what I go look at. So this tells me all the information that somebody's done or moved it or whatever. So I can tell who's moved it where. So pretty interesting. Wires X is pretty cool. Go ahead.
Todd, when you're driving down the road and you're talking to Ben, where's your internet connection?
Phone.
Okay.
Now, I did have, this time I had a portable Verizon network hotspot.
Right.
That's what I was using.
Yeah.
And I think in the mountains over here in North Carolina is the only place I really lost you, maybe one other time.
Yeah, and I talked to George just a couple of days ago, and I told George, I said, I'm going to lose you going under the blue tube in the north. And I did, because I'll go down to like one bar right through there. And that's where he kind of lost me. He heard it beep, 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 just where it wasn't able to hold the connection in to the software.
Right.
But then it came right back.
Okay.
But if you're running laptops or tablets, you got to make sure this thing don't go to sleep.
Yeah.
If it goes to sleep, you've lost everything, right? And then you got to go back and reconnect up here to this room up here on the top. You have to go back and connect back again. If the computer shuts down, loses internet connection, any of that stuff, I've always had to go back in and connect back up. But I have ran it from my phone internet hotspot, and it works just as well. I'm sure that's what you were doing.
Yeah.
So it works pretty good. Like I said, it doesn't have to be real robust, just enough to transmit some data packets, which is not a whole lot of data. So on Holston Mountain, to give you an idea of what I have up there, I have the 443-800, which is it's set up to operate in AMS or the automatic mode select. And the reason why I did that, it's typically used for Wires X and Fusion. But the reason why I did it, I also have the 442-200 analog machine. And the 442-200 has a Sunday morning net on it, 7 a.m. Some of the guys from around the area get on there and have a short net of the morning. The Bristol Club uses it some to run their nets because of the coverage area on it. The 443-800, I've done it so that it would have analog capability. If the 442-200 died, they could move over to it. However, the coverage on analog on that machine is very little. It's putting out, I don't know, what them things put out on UHF.
Yeah, probably.
Duplexed is probably,
Duplex about 10 watts.
yeah, I started to say about 10 watts on UHF is all it's putting out. So my 442-200 is an MTR 3000, and I'm probably doing about 20 watts or so out of it to the antenna. So, and the location's different. So then the 145-290 belongs to Larry over in Elizabethan. He's in the Elizabethan Club. That's also tied in with this network. The the node that I have, this one right here is the HRI 200. That one has the FT510 tied into the HRI 200. You have to have a radio on it to operate the HRI 200. Some people says you don't have to, and I'm sure there's software gurus out there that can do that. I don't. I struggle just to make it run. But when I done that, I had to have a frequency. I was going to run it simplex, and I did for a while. And I asked Larry if I could tie it into the 2.9. So if you hear us on the 2.9, sometimes that's us. So on the digital side of it. His is also set up in AMS mode. Then of course I had the 146-700 for many years, and it ended up going to Larry, and Larry traded the Carter County Club because of the situation with their site. The 145-290 didn't run there very well, so they swapped frequencies. So that's the stuff on Holston I work on. Occasionally I work on other stuff, but I do a lot of commercial work up there, tower climbing and whatnot. And but that's pretty much my amateur operation. But all of my stuff from the house, and Ben can tell you, he run a portable from his house into the triple O, and it talks every time we talk. So it's a pretty robust little system. And IFTM 300 has been on the air probably 2.5 years, 3 years. Everything that repeater receives goes out over the internet. Every time the internet talks, it goes to that mountain. And that FTM 300 on 5 watts has talked as much as that repeater. I can tell you, it is amazing how that thing has worked. So the repeaters, I know you all have got, what, 3? Are they all fusion?
Yeah, I mean, they're all fusion.
Okay, yeah. So the ones that you're running, full-time fusion, this type setup with a FTM 300 or 200, 100, whatever, this type configuration would work good sitting in somebody's house with a good internet connection or a decent internet connection, and would make it to that repeater without any problems whatsoever. Low power, I run Yaesus, 5-element Yaesus on all of mine. The VHF, I didn't really want to buy a 5-element Yaesu for that thing, but it takes a lot of tower space. It's a lot bigger than UHF. So, but anyway, those have been really robust. The system seems to be more robust than the DMR. Anybody in here use DMR, the little hotspot? You got one? You got one? Sometimes they'll drop frequently, and the user will be extremely loud, and you turn the radio down. This user over here is really low, and you got to turn it up. Sometimes you don't have that. A good spot, sometimes you don't have that. It kind of equals the audio out. But I do have the DMR machine on Holston Mountain, and it does cover fairly well. It's 442-200, and it has a couple of talk groups. Tennessee Statewide is in there. Then I have a talk group on it through Brandmeister that's on there. It's connected to the Brandmeister network. And I use, just recently went to that Starlink up there. So that's what I'm having for an internet connection. The trees and everything's kind of killing it a little bit, but it still works. It functions. So DMR, both time slots 1 and 2 are active through Brandmeister. So anybody wants to use it, programmer radio, you're on it. I'm pretty sure I can get into it from here. I know I can with that, and they're in the same site, so they should be able to get into it from the Kingsport area. I do talk on it a lot from my truck, not so much portable, but I do my truck and travel. So, but anyway, anything else here? I wanted to cut this real short.
These rooms worldwide?
Yes.
Correct.
Yep.
Sure are.
Todd, when I first started, I guess almost 2 years ago, there was concern that if you didn't properly disconnect from the node, I would inadvertently leave you with your node tied up.
Mm-hmm.
Is that improved any? Do you all have a timeout like you were talking
Yes.
about? that it'll automatically reset? Because it's not intuitive. Every radio's a little different.
That's correct.
On how you disconnect.
That is correct.
I've got to hit the little star button.
Yes.
and
Hold it down. Yep.
Push to talk.
Yep.
On my microphone.
Yep.
I've got a FT500B for the earlier generation.
Mm-hmm.
But so should we all still should try to do that if we can, but you have a backup to kick us out if we don't do it properly.
Yeah, mine, a lot of people like on, I believe it's Sunday night, they have the Southeast Link or America Link, one of the two. I can't remember what it is, but somebody will get on there and put it on and sit and listen, which I have no problem with that. That's what it's up there for. I want it used. And it'll run 30 minutes, even though we don't transmit on it from here. Right? Some people do, but most of the time it just sit and listen. So when they do that, they're listening to the net. 30 minutes later, boop, right in the middle of the conversation, she's gone. Right? So the software controls that. That's part of the return to room number 08311, and it'll remove it back to the room. That also, that timer where I had unlimited time, you can set that timer for whatever length of time you want within its parameters. So, but that has been a big issue over the years where somebody connected, they didn't have the software set up like this. And when they do that, sometimes it locks it up. That was one of my reasons for not putting it at the site, the RF site, because you can walk down the hall, get out of there, and you're good. For me, it's an hour and 15-minute drive to Holston Mountain. So, but
mine's only 15 minutes, but still, that's a pain.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
not planning to start your day to go to the repeater site.
Right.
So.
Right. So that is something that I do on all of mine that's connected to the repeater networks. Some of them nets can go a while, and it's odd because when they hear it drop out, they reconnect it. And I'm fine with that. I don't have a problem with that, right? It just sits there and transmits. But I never run these repeaters on high power. Never. I had a brand new one, run her on high power. John Crook, run her on high power. No problem whatsoever. Well, 3 months later, I sent it to Yaesu. So I run mine medium power. He's supposed to be 100% duty cycle.
The DR3 is supposed to be.
I'd like to have one tested, but maybe if my wife will let me spend some money, I may get one. But I do have some spares just for your all's information and yours too. I do have some spare DR2s. I got one brand new in a box that's never been took out of the box. So if y'all ever have an issue where you're down, call me. Get a hold of me, and I may have one sitting on the shelf that you can use till you get yours repaired or a new one. So I try to keep mine as a backup. I've got several repeaters, and I just program for whatever and throw them on the air. But duplexer tuning, antenna work, stuff like that, anything that I can do to help you, I will. And it don't cost you anything. That's the good part. I worked with Bristol Club, helped them with some of their stuff. I worked with Larry, Carter County Club. Haven't done much with Johnson City, but I don't charge hams. So anything I can do. Go ahead, Al.
So anything I can do. Go ahead.
Question about Ben, I pulled up earlier, he had on Kansas City, but if I turn on my radio,
You have to listen to what's coming across the RF.
You have to listen.
Yeah, if you're tied in, say my repeater, for instance.
Yeah, if you're tied, say my repeater.
If I take my handheld and I reroute it
If I take my
over to Kansas City wide, whoever is on that repeater, everybody is listening to Kansas City wide.
everybody is listening.
You can reroute it, but if you do, everybody gets moved to the new room. It's not like TDMA where you can have two paths.
TDMA where you can.
So it's just straight up one path. But the good thing about it is, I mean, there's some data that comes with this.
The good thing about it is,
I failed to mention that. On your radio in that Wires X mode, some of the radios have the GPS location. If you turn it on, it'll tell you the distance you are from the individual that you're talking with. It's pretty cool. Little compass comes up, shows you all the information on it. pretty cool.
Shows you all.
And I really like that. I mean, especially when I was traveling, he
I really like that.
could tell when I was coming back from Maryland. I was traveling down the road. Well, you're getting closer. You're about so mile marker. And he knows about all them exits up through there. So
He knows about all that
anything else?
up through there. So anything else?
Like I said, I'll be more than happy
Like I said,
to help in any way I can.
I'll be more than happy.
Like I said, I'm not the sharpest guy.
Way I can.
I have been able over the years to learn some things,
I have been able to
and
learn some
I
things.
appreciate
And
the clubs that has been around that has helped me
the clubs that
through the years,
helped me.
the repeaters that I've owned.
Um,
I pretty much
Peters, I
run my own show,
pretty much,
and it's different when you're dealing with a club.
and it's different when you're
You
dealing
know, the Bristol Club, I mean, it was months trying to get things worked out with
with
them
Bristol Club. I mean,
on some of their own interior stuff that they were working on. The tower got blew over from the
they were working
the
on
wind from Helene,
the wind.
and I was able to help them a little bit, climb the tower and do some work.
Help them a little bit.
So,
on the tower.
But anything like that you all need, I'm just a phone call away.
But anything like that you all need, I'm just a phone call.
Somebody come to me earlier, I believe it was him,
Somebody come to
come to me and he said, I've heard some bad things, some good things, and all kinds of things.
I've heard some
You
bad
probably
things,
will.
Good things, and all kinds of
But take it for what it is. But don't go around saying I'm bad until you know me. So I know. But it's true though. I'm sure there's somebody. You find somebody that says that.
I'm sure there's
Anyway, anything else?
somebody say that.
Any question?
Anyway, anything else? Any questions?
Yeah, I have a quick question. I have a pass bar that I use. I use it for wires X.
Right.
I tell Casey Black basically.
Right.
Is it better to have the cable or just stick with the OpStar? Now, I would that.
The FT70 will not connect to the Wires X software.
Connect.
Yeah. And what you're actually doing is you're not really going to the room. You're going through a reflector.
You're not really going.
The Wires X, the little Pi-Star devices that you have, they will not connect directly to the Yaesu
They will
room.
connect directly to
Okay.
Yaesu.
I have wanted to do a connection with mine over to a DMR connection
With mine
through a reflector.
connection
Uh,
through a
Brandmeister frowns on that big time.
Brandmeister on that big time.
I've asked them to do it. I actually have a request in now to have that done.
I actually have a request in.
But you got to have a reflector from that room, from Yaesu
reflector
room over to a reflector number. Sometimes that number is the same number as that room. Sometimes it's not.
Number is that room.
And that's, some of them like the
That's
America KC wide,
KC wide,
America Link,
America,
and maybe Southeast Link. All of those, they match
maybe Southeast Link.
the room number. So when you go on here and you connect, you're connecting to the same room, same actual number, just a different direction through the path across the internet. But with the FT70, you'd have to go that route because it won't connect to the computer. Now at home, I want to buy a FTM 300 or an FTM 510 and just have it connected to my computer at home. I don't even know that I even transmit RF. I just go straight across, directly across. It's so much easier when you're just sitting there to go here and click and connect instead of having to go through all the functions. And you just go there and click and connect and you're there. And it just leave the software running. So at home, I've got two of the little micro computers. I know this sounds odd, and I can send you any of these pieces and parts that I use. It's dark outside.
It's dark outside.
I use a battery and a power inverter. I use Ames power inverters. Got a 300 watt power inverter connected to a battery. The radios, both the radios, link radios, are tied to that battery. And then the power supplies for the little desktop computers, not the displays, but just the little computers, are all running off of that. So if I lose power, if it blinks, runs off of that inverter straight on. I've seen it run 4 days. So
I've seen it run.
that's pretty good, running 2 computers, 2 radios that's transmitting and receiving, and the network. So it does pretty good.
And the network. So,
And I do the same thing on Holston Mountain. So all of my Starlink stuff
same thing on
that's up there,
all my stars,
the network, all the repeaters
the network,
are all on their own individual battery backup system on Holston.
individual
Power went out up there for days with Helene
there for
and the whole time,
with the lean
network and all.
and the whole time.
So pretty good stuff.
Working on
Anybody else?
pretty good stuff. Anybody else?
It's almost breakfast. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you. Very good.